Donald Trump is a name everyone knows. He's been a business mogul, a reality TV star, and a president. But what about Donald Trump? We don't know. Before fame and fortune, a childhood shaped the man the world sees today. It's a story hidden behind the headlines, full of discipline, ambition, and surprising details. This is the side of Trump you probably haven't heard about, the childhood that built the foundation of his empire. Donald Trump was born on June 14, 1946, in Queens, New York, into a family of significant means. His father, Fred Trump, was a self-made real estate developer who built a thriving business in residential construction. The family's wealth gave Donald access to opportunities many could only dream of, but growing up in the Trump household wasn't all comfort and luxury. Fred Trump was a hard-driving figure who demanded excellence from his children, treating life as a constant test of capability. A combination of privilege and pressure marked Donald's childhood. His natural confidence and strong personality often clashed with his father's strict discipline, leading to tensions at home. As a young boy, he displayed a rebellious streak that made managing him challenging. By age 13, his behavior had reached a point where his parents decided to enroll him at the New York Military Academy, hoping the structured environment would channel his energy productively. Donald Trump was one of 5 siblings, each navigating the demanding environment created by their father. Fred Trump Sr., the eldest, Fred Jr., was initially seen as the one who might follow in their father's footsteps. However, Fred Jr.'s struggle with alcoholism and his eventual decision to step away from the family business left a lasting impression on Donald. Fred Jr.'s battles ultimately led to his untimely death in 1981 at the age of 42. A tragedy that deeply affected the family. For Donald, Fred Jr.'s story became a cautionary tale. Donald often cited his brother's experience as the reason he abstained from alcohol, cigarettes, and drugs throughout his life. Fred Jr.'s decision to distance himself from the pressures of their father's expectations also highlighted the weight of the Trump family's demands. This context added a layer of complexity to Donald's determination to succeed, not just for himself, but as a way to fulfill what he might have seen as an inherited responsibility. The Trump siblings, Marianne, Fred Jr., Elizabeth, Robert, and Donald, had distinct personalities and paths. Marianne Trump Barry pursued a legal career, eventually becoming a federal judge, embodying the discipline and achievement valued in the Trump family. Elizabeth, the most private of the siblings, stayed largely out of the public eye. At the same time, Robert played a quieter role in the family business, supporting Donald's ventures without vying for the spotlight. Donald's relationship with his siblings also revealed his competitive streak. In a household where achievement was everything, Donald often took center stage, driven by his father's preference for boldness and results. This sibling dynamic fueled his ambition, as he sought to distinguish himself in his family and on a larger stage. Fred Jr.'s story, in particular, became a defining influence on Donald's values and choices. It reinforced his belief in resilience, discipline, and staying focused on goals. At the same time, his siblings' varied paths highlighted the contrast between Donald's relentless pursuit of visibility and the quieter, more traditional approaches of the rest of the Trump family. Life at the academy was anything but lenient. The regimen included early mornings, military drills, and an emphasis on discipline and order. The strictness might have been overwhelming for many, but Donald adapted quickly. He managed to meet the Academy's high standards and gained leadership roles among his peers. These formative years significantly shaped his confidence and assertiveness, traits that would become defining aspects of his personality. This early exposure to a demanding environment instilled in him a strong drive to compete and succeed. The military academy became a place where Donald began to understand the value of discipline and the rewards of persistence, laying the groundwork for his future ambitions. Leaving behind the comfort of his family's established real estate business in Queens, Donald Trump set his sights on Manhattan, determined to make his mark in the heart of the city's elite real estate market. In the 1970s, Donald Trump decided to move beyond his father's middle-income housing developments in Queens and Brooklyn. While Fred Trump had built a stable empire in these areas, Donald saw Manhattan as the ultimate stage for ambition and success. However, breaking into Manhattan's tightly knit real estate market wasn't easy. Established players dismissed Donald as an outsider with no track record in high-end development, and many viewed his bold ideas skeptically. Donald's first major hurdle was the stigma of being Fred Trump's son. While Fred was respected in Queens, his focus on practical, low-cost housing projects didn't carry the prestige Donald needed to be taken seriously in Manhattan. To overcome this, Donald crafted his identity, distancing himself from his father's reputation and presenting himself as a visionary capable of tackling high-profile developments. Fred Trump was a no-nonsense businessman who believed in hard work over handouts. For Donald, that meant getting involved in the family business early. He spent much of his childhood accompanying his father to construction sites, where he observed the day-to-day operations of building and managing properties. Fred emphasized the importance of cost efficiency, quality control, and maintaining a solid reputation in the industry. These lessons would later become the foundation of Donald's business approach. Donald's early exposure to real estate taught him more than just the technicalities of construction. He saw firsthand how branding and relationships could influence deals and learned the value of persistence in a competitive market. However, while Fred focused on middle-class housing, Donald began to develop his vision that leaned heavily toward luxury and prestige. Donald officially joined the family business after graduating from the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. In 1971, he rebranded it as the Trump Organization, signaling a shift in direction. This wasn't just about a name change. Donald wanted to position the company as a player in high-profile real estate projects. His ambitions were clear. He sought to expand beyond his father's practical developments and make the Trump name synonymous with grandeur and excess. His first big project was the redevelopment of the Commodore Hotel in Manhattan. Partnering with the Hyatt Corporation, Donald transformed the rundown property into the Grand Hyatt, a gleaming symbol of modern luxury. The success of this project solidified his approach to real estate. Focus on creating eye-catching properties that demanded attention and carried his signature branding. By taking the lessons from Fred and applying his flair for marketing and risk-taking, Donald began shaping a business empire that reflected his personality, bold, ambitious, and unapologetically extravagant. As Donald Trump began taking bigger swings in the world of real estate, the stakes grew higher, and so did the risks. One of Donald's early triumphs was transforming Manhattan's Commodore Hotel. Many doubted the project's viability when he took over the crumbling property. Partnering with the Hyatt Corporation, Trump redeveloped the site into the Grand Hyatt, a sleek, modern hotel that quickly became successful. This project boosted his reputation and solidified his formula: ambitious deals, strong partnerships, and a relentless focus on creating properties that demanded attention. However, not all of Donald's ventures were as successful. His foray into Atlantic City's casino industry during the 1980s and 1990s became a high-profile example of his willingness to take risks, sometimes to his detriment. Trump opened several casinos, including the Trump Plaza, Trump Marina, and the opulent Trump Taj Mahal, which he once called the eighth wonder of the world. Despite their grandeur, the casinos struggled under mounting debts and fierce competition. By the early 1990s, multiple bankruptcies hit his Atlantic City properties, leaving his financial empire teetering. What made Trump stand out wasn't just his ability to build, his resilience when things went south. He leveraged his setbacks into opportunities to reinforce his brand. Instead of shying away from failure, Trump leaned into it, using the media's fascination with his ups and downs to stay in the spotlight. Whether through court battles over his debts or dramatic negotiations with creditors, Trump managed to turn even his financial struggles into public spectacles. His name became less about the properties themselves and more about the image of success he carefully cultivated. From luxury skyscrapers to ventures like Trump Steaks and Trump Vodka, he ensured his brand remained a constant in public consciousness. While critics questioned the sustainability of his approach, Trump understood one thing clearly: staying relevant was just as important as staying solvent. Through his ability to recover and maintain his presence in the public eye, Trump created a narrative that resonated, one of determination, reinvention, and a flair for turning even his failures into talking points. Donald Trump's ambitions were never about maintaining the status quo. He wanted to be more than a successful businessman. He wanted to be a symbol of success itself. Fred Trump built a strong foundation in real estate, but Donald had no intention of stopping there. He grew up watching his father methodically build a business, but saw the limitations of sticking to practicality. Donald was determined to go further, making a name that would resonate far beyond the industry. To achieve that, Donald embraced the power of image. Every deal, every building, and every public appearance became an opportunity to amplify his persona. His properties weren't just functional, they were designed to dazzle. Trump Tower in Manhattan became a prime example of this approach. With its gold-accented interiors and imposing presence, the skyscraper symbolized his larger-than-life personality and his determination to be associated with luxury. But Donald's ambitions didn't end with real estate. In the early 2000s, he ventured into entertainment with The Apprentice. This move wasn't just about diversifying his ventures, it was a calculated step to elevate his visibility. The show portrayed him as the ultimate boss, who made decisions with authority and flair. The iconic catchphrase, "You're fired," became synonymous with his brand, embedding him further into pop culture. Donald's approach to standing out wasn't subtle and wasn't meant to be. He understood the importance of being memorable in a crowded world. By blending business, entertainment, and an unapologetic persona, he ensured that his name remained a constant topic of conversation. This relentless drive to stand out defined Donald Trump's trajectory. Whether through skyscrapers, reality TV, or his ventures in branding, he carved out a space where the ordinary had no place. Donald Trump's larger-than-life persona didn't appear overnight. It was molded by the environment he grew up in and the lessons he absorbed from an early age. Long before Donald Trump became a reality TV icon or a political figure, he understood the power of the media. He used it to his advantage in ways that set him apart from other developers. From the earliest days of his career, Donald Trump displayed an uncanny ability to attract media attention. While many real estate developers worked quietly in the background, Donald saw the press as a valuable tool to amplify his image and projects. One of his first notable uses of media was during the Commodore Hotel redevelopment in the 1970s. Donald ensured the press covered every project milestone, from the acquisition to the transformation into the Grand Hyatt. Donald's understanding of media wasn't limited to traditional press releases or newspaper headlines. He knew how to craft narratives that aligned with his goals. For instance, when he faced challenges or controversies, he reframed them to highlight his resilience and determination. This approach allowed him to stay in the public eye, even when the news wasn't entirely favorable. Throughout the 1980s, Donald's media strategy evolved further. His skyscrapers weren't just architectural feats, they were marketing triumphs. He ensured that every detail, from the gold-plated interiors to the extravagant grand openings, was designed to capture attention. Journalists were invited to witness the spectacle, and Donald made himself available for interviews, often emphasizing his role in the projects. Donald's relationship with the media was symbiotic. He gave reporters eye-catching stories, and in return, he received extensive coverage that bolstered his reputation. By the time he authored The Art of the Deal in 1987, he had fully cemented his media persona as a charismatic and unstoppable business leader. The book wasn't just a bestseller, but a tool to enhance his brand, showcasing his philosophy and success on his terms. Donald Trump's childhood reveals the origins of traits that defined him: ambition, resilience, and an obsession with making an impact. Growing up in a household led by Fred Trump meant exposure to high expectations and relentless discipline. Fred's approach to parenting was less about nurturing and more about preparing his children to succeed in a competitive world. Fred's business practices, his meticulous attention to detail, and emphasis on branding were foundational influences. Donald witnessed how his father turned practical real estate projects into profitable ventures by understanding his market and maintaining a strong reputation. From how Fred managed construction crews to how he navigated New York's tough business climate, Donald learned that success demanded strategy and persistence. But Donald didn't just follow his father's playbook, he expanded it. While Fred focused on creating middle-income housing, Donald's ambition drove him toward high-profile, glamorous projects that would carry his name into the public sphere. This ability to take the fundamentals he was taught and turn them into something bolder and more impactful speaks volumes about the mindset he developed during those formative years. His time at New York Military Academy also played a pivotal role. The Academy's strict environment forced Donald to adapt, build confidence, and embrace leadership. These experiences reinforced his determination to succeed, even under pressure. His ability to bounce back from failures, whether in business or public life, can be traced directly to the lessons learned during his childhood. Donald Trump's early years explain much about his approach to life. The discipline instilled by his father and the experiences at New York Military Academy gave him the tools to shape his future. These formative years built the foundation for his boldness in branding, drive to outshine competitors, and resilience in the face of setbacks. Whether you admire him or not, his journey from a tough upbringing to a global icon is fascinating. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more untold stories and surprising insights. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.